I'll be speaking on the impact of the fall. The impact of the fall. There are three major places where the fall affected in Adam and Eve. The fall affected the mouth, it affected the hand, and it affected the leg. The first place is the mouth. The second place is the hand, and the second place is the leg. Now, the mouth speaks of utterance. The moment the mouth was affected, they could not communicate spiritual things with boldness like before, because the door of utterance was not open to them. And that's what happens to a man that has fallen. One of the signs to show that you have backslided is that your utterance will no longer flow through you. It will suddenly become hard for you to share the good news with others. You suddenly start feeling ashamed. It's a sign. It's a sign that your mouth has been affected. Your utterances have been taken away. That's a sign that a man is falling. The fall closed the door of utterance on them, so they could not access deep spiritual mysteries like they did before. Can you see that? Because the mouth was affected, they could not speak mysteries of the kingdom. So it's no longer about utterance now, it's now about philosophies. So they will gather people and be telling them proverbs and philosophies. Meanwhile, they were supposed to be teaching them the mysteries of God, but because they had fallen and their utterances has been taken away, they could not speak the mysteries of God. Check yourself. Maybe you are the one I'm even describing. Check what you are saying. What you are saying, are they the mysteries of God, or you are just teaching the people human philosophy? Or maybe you are just teaching them what goes around comes around. Watch it, and the Lord will help you. Now, this is what it means for the mouth to be affected. When your utterance is taken away, when you can no longer speak the mysteries of God, it means your mouth has been affected, and it's a sign of a fall. Number two, the hand. Now, the hand speaks of conviction. Conviction. The moment their hand was affected, they lost their conviction. They became is it became easy for them to be influenced by the devil. When your conviction is low, the rate at which you can be influenced by the devil will be high, because your conviction is not strong. Other people could influence them easily because they could easily stop believing all they had fought to keep. All the valuable currencies in their spirit in form of knowledge could be easily replaced with a diluted one because their conviction has been tampered with, and that's a sign that their hand has been affected. Now, the third place the fall affected was their leg. Now, their leg speaks of zeal for God. The moment their leg was affected, they lost their commitment. With the leg, we move. Now, movement speaks of commitment, which is a subset of zeal. They could no longer commit themselves to kingdom things because their legs were affected. To be devoted became very hard for them. Why? Because their legs have been affected. So, a man that is falling, we find it hard to be devoted to kingdom things. Suddenly, the one that is devoted will now become unstable. Is a sign. Is a sign. Now, these were the three major parts that the fall affected in Adam and Eve. Now, the other word, no, in other words, the entire human race was also affected by this because the world was in Adam and Eve. That was why whatever happens to them will definitely affect the whole world. So Jesus came in order to take away the impact of the fall. On the strength of his death, we were able to rise from our fall because we were all in Adam. and we fell when he fell. This was why when he ate the fruit, the whole world ate the fruit. But now, whatever happens to him affected us because we were in him. Due to the sacrifices of Jesus, we were able to rise from the fall. That was why whosoever believes on Jesus will have eternal life. That eternal life is the evidence to show that we have been implicated by the death of Jesus Christ. Thanks to Jesus for bringing us up. But it happened that the one that fell was smaller than the one that rose from the fall. A man fell, but a child rose. Can you see that? A man fell, but a child rose. This is because many teachings were lost to the fall. Many knowledge of God were lost to the fall. All those teachings that God gave Adam during their communion in the garden had fallen off from them. So with this new condition, with this new condition of man, he would need elementary teachings, milk, and not hard teaching, meat or even bone. He will need to accept Jesus to rise from the fall, and when that happens, then we will need, man will need to submit to discipleship and mentorship, because we are like newly born babies that desires the sincere milk of the word. That, what reduces a man to a baby is the knowledge gap, because spiritual maturity is knowledge based. Every saved person has been redeemed from the effect of the fall. But we must know that in this our stage, we are like babies that need to learn the principles of the kingdom. It was the knowledge of God that we lost that reduced us to babies. So we will need to relearn those things we have desired in order to, we will need to relearn those things we have lost in order to become a man again. The mentorship and discipleship is a tool. Mentorship and discipleship is a tool to restore us back into the knowledge of God that was missing in us. This is why after you have surrendered to Jesus, you will now need to commit yourself to learning if you desire growth. Otherwise, you will remain a baby even when you are saved. Can you see that? It was a man that fell, but it was a child. It was a child that rose. So that's why when you give your life to Christ, no matter how old you are, spiritually you are a baby. So you need to learn, because the impact of the fall had drained all the knowledge of God that Adam had. It has drained all the knowledge of God from our memory. So when you give your life to Christ, even if you are 100 years old physically, spiritually you are a child. You will need to submit yourself to learning, discipleship, mentorship, in order to start growing. Because growth in the will of God is a function of knowledge. The more the knowledge, the more the growth. This is the wisdom of God. Don't sell it.